Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Spilling the Tea. In this week, we got a somewhat of a special episode. We're here with Adam Mears from the Overwatch League. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm great, man. How are you?
I'm doing very good, thank you. So, for anyone watching that might not know who you are or what you do specifically, what is it that you do with the Overwatch League?
I've been working on the Overwatch League since the very beginning, really. And operations has been my key focus. So the reason why you don't know me is because I'm behind the scenes. I'm not on camera, but I'm making sure everything stays intact behind the scenes, such as competitive integrity. That's one of the biggest pieces of my job is to make sure we have a very like our league is competitive, but like also nothing funky's happening. I guess I'll put it that way. And then also like the things like substitutions. How do we get players on and off stage? What happens during a pause? Like that becomes my main problems during a day. And so I'm trying to solve it so it works for the teams as best as possible, but also make sure we minimize the amount of downtime so our fans have a good show.
Yeah, of course, and you guys do a great job. So, we got loads of questions sent in. So we'll start with some questions from Reddit. In the event of technical difficulties, how do you decide what gets done in the intervening time? So, if the casters are going to talk, or if
hmm
we're going to roll some frag videos or something like that.
These are the things that you care about during downtimes, right? No, as a player, you're not thinking about it, but
No.
we're scrambling. Like sometimes it's an easy fix if there's like someone calls a pause and we're like we all freak out for a second and we're like what happened, and it might be like a mouse issue and that could be resolved in 30 seconds or less. If that's the case, the admin B in this case will has a direct line to the producer who's controlling what the shots, what's going on to air. And so she might be like, "Hey, it's just it's a mouse issue. We'll get it resolved in 30 seconds." So at that point, we'll just stay on casters, and then we'll resume the game as soon as possible. Like that's the ultimate goal: is how do we solve the problem and then get into games so that way we don't have downtime. Sometimes there's longer pauses, and we've seen one somewhat recently. And that's we have to figure out how long is it going to take. Sometimes it doesn't. There is an unknown amount of time because we're not sure what the issue is. In which we would be honest with our broadcast team and say, hey, we're still looking into this one. We don't know what exactly is going on, but we need to figure it out. In which broadcast will make the decision: do we go to an ad break? Do we throw up a video? Do we toss it to watch point? There's a lot of different levers that we can pull to help keep the show compelling when it's not gameplay. But when we're ready, and we're always trying to be as fast as possible, we'll tell the broadcast team like, hey, we're going to be ready in a minute if you want to start, turning things into a segue back into the match.
Yeah, and I mean it's super important because I know that obviously, like you said, when we're in the game, that's not what we're thinking about. It's not what we really care about. But even when I'm watching the games, it's obviously important to me as a viewer that you sort of keep things interesting and you keep it rolling. So it's really important that you sort of have that decision making.
Do you
Um,
watch? Let me ask you real quick. Do you watch games differently now that you know things are happening behind the scenes? Like, oh, I wonder if the admin's freaking out right now, or what the players are doing.
I kind of do, and not just in Overwatch, but also in
Yeah.
like other sports and stuff that I watch and
Yep.
other like esports and stuff. And I'm always sitting there whenever like a technical issue happens, or like it could be anything little that you don't really think about the nuances of when you're not a player or someone behind the scenes. And I will sit there thinking about, I wonder how they're dealing with this.
Yep. Exactly.
Like the
Same.
same things with like being a player or a coach in another sport. I kind of sit there thinking, I wonder what's going on behind the scenes because you get the gist of it, but you don't really know for sure.
Right.
Nintendo asks, what is your favorite place in Massachusetts?
Ah, yes. I've actually lived in Massachusetts for 6 months. I lived in Boston, and my favorite area in Boston is the North End. I guess it's like I don't know if that includes Quincy Market or not, but the North End has some of the best food, whether it's your seafood, your lobster rolls, and what New England's really known for. But also there's a lot of there's like Little Italy back there, and some of the Italian food. If you haven't been there yet, Fusions, you got to go. The North End is definitely the place to be.
Yeah, sadly we've sort of been held up with all the lockdown and stuff, so we haven't really been able to explore Boston as much as I would have liked this year.
Fair.
The saddest part, obviously, being missing the homestand games, but I'm sure eventually they'll get a chance to go and explore and do some stuff.
Yeah.
Norseman asks, what's the largest lessons that you've taken away from running matches in a single location to various homestands or to even over the internet?
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Because again, we started the Overwatch League in Burbank, California, out of the Blizzard Arena. Did that for 2 years. Of course, we had our finals in New York and Philly. Had a couple of homestands in 2019, so we got to do those. But then this year we went full home and away, right? Like we were in different cities every week, and some things are easier when you're in person, such as making sure players are in their seats when they need to be. We can certainly like help. Escalate or help expedite, that's the word, of people getting from the dugouts to their chairs and making sure the broadcast is very controlled. But when we're working online, everyone is relying on the internet, relying on verbal communication. There is no face-to-face contact or showing you where the bathroom is or what have you, right? Like everyone has their own schedule, they have their own equipment, and if one thing goes wrong, that's a gear out of the machine, and you need every gear to run the machine. So it becomes more challenging online, and there's more unknowns. So my biggest lesson learned is it became more obvious is that communication every second of a show is super critical. And now adding our teams to that pipeline of communication, we work through each other with TeamSpeak, right? And so we talk to you on how we do subs through TeamSpeak instead of knocking on your door at the dugout. So there's a lot of lessons learned on how we can turn our show from LAN play to online match play, while keeping the same operations and hits that we need throughout the day.
Yeah, and obviously there's a lot that goes into every different situation. I mean, even as a player, obviously there's a lot of differences about how we get managed and sort of escorted around. Like you said, like it's a
Hmm.
lot easier to keep contact with us at the home stands. And Burbank, it was always super consistent because
Hmm.
everything was kind of set up. We had the system in place, but it was interesting with the home stands about how it was handled. And obviously now the online play as well, it's very different for everyone. Daring Hardox asks, how do you prevent teams with a team house from having an advantage with their coaches and players being in the same place on game day?
Obviously, that was probably one of the biggest things I put my focus into during online match play is competitive integrity, right? Like you want to make sure your opponent's not cheating, and I want to make sure you're not cheating, Fusions, right? Like how do I keep my eye on you? One thing that we made sure we had was eyeballs on all teams in practice facilities, and so we have these field of play cams that we could see every player playing the moment before they start their match, during their match, and after their match. And if we ever see anything questionable, we have a line of contact to the GM or the main point of contact of each team, um, to verify what's going on. We also have software installed onto each player's computers that allows us to monitor what's going on each of those PCs at any given time. We check those PCs before every single match. Like there's a lot of processes that we put into place to really make sure we're keeping an eye on our players, whether they're playing from facilities or they're playing from home. And then the coach variable, we do give them a spectator slot in game, and we make sure that they can only view their own players. There's a nice feature in the game that allows us to like you're only watching the Boston Uprising in your case, and so whatever you see as a player is the same thing that the coaches see. But even though that's the case, we still want eyeballs on every single coach. So we have a dedicated camera that my team is watching on the coaches as well. So as you can imagine, we probably have like 3 or 4 video camera feeds on top of the player POV cams that we have on you. Like there's a lot of cameras on you guys, and between that and the software solutions, feel pretty good with what we have. Very confident.
Yeah, it's almost like doing shifts as a security guard, kind of, when you're doing this sort of Overwatch
Sure, yeah.
League watching. 1L1K Wednesdays asks, what is the most stressful thing during match days?
Pauses. Even saying the word pause, it hurts. Like everybody on my team, like we don't even say the P word in front of each other. And if we do, like it would be in the middle of a meeting and someone that's not even on our team will be like, well, hold on, pause for a second. And all of us on the team are like, what? Like we're on our feet because like the game admin's literally staring at the screen the entire time. And if you guys type P in chat, we need to react immediately. Imagine if we didn't. That would hurt the competition, right? Um, so pauses are stressful just because of the word, and it's completely unknown what the issue is. It could be as little as like a mouse issue, or I spilt water and I need to clean it up. Sorry. Or it could be something unknown happened, or I lost power, or my internet went out. Like there's a pandemic. No, like there's a lot of things that can happen, and so we don't know initially. But then when we ask you as the team, or and we dig deeper into it, then we're able to troubleshoot with our IT team and say like, all right. This looks like something we need to look into. Let's go into the player's PC, help them figure it out. Hey, broadcast, we need like 3 or 5 minutes. This looks like it's a internet issue, right? And so we work very closely with our teams, which is one of my favorite moments, like of like this online match play, is we gained actually a very close relationship with one another to tackle this problem together. Um, and then yeah, and then once the pause is resolved and we get in the match play, it's kind of like okay, we're back in game, but is anything else going to happen? Like, and you're kind of like at the edge of your seat, like, are we good? Are we good? Okay, cool, we're good, right? And then you go into the next match, and then you start to calm down. So definitely pauses are the most stressful time.
Yeah, and I mean it's definitely important as well because obviously pauses can happen for anything, especially with the online play going on. You know, you never know when you're gonna have a problem. So it's really obviously important and great that you guys are like really on top of that. Rochanity OW asks, what is the favorite moment of your job?
I've actually said this, and I think there's also another video that was filmed like a year ago when we were in the Blizzard Arena. I genuinely mean this. Like, I grew up as a gamer from before I was 9 years old, right? Like, I was on a PC when there was just DOS and Windows 3.1. Like, I'm an old gamer. And then I used to play a lot of old school games on the internet before, like on dial-up. And then seeing where I am today in the world, like, I didn't have the most supportive parents of like, yeah, you should be on the computer all the time playing games and all. But they did actually let me do it more than they probably should have when I was younger, maybe. But they knew it made me happy and it was fun and look where I am today. So it wasn't a complete waste, right? Like I actually believe that gaming helps and saves people in times of need, and it's a hobby. It could be a job too. Like so when I go to the Overwatch League, to the question, like when I see parents with their kids and supporting their kids to watch the Overwatch League live and having the best time, and their parents joining in with them and screaming, go Boston or what have you, right? Like that is so heartwarming to me. Might sound cheesy, but like literally like every single week at the Blizzard Arena when I saw that, or when we were at each homestand and hearing home crowds boo the opponent. And I remember seeing you and you're like, come on, like, and you're eating it up too, right? Like that is so powerful to me that like we've created something that no one really thought was possible in a way. Like, can video games be sports? Yeah, they can. In fact, they have a lot of advantages over sports in many ways, and the world is starting to see that year by year. And we're still in the infancy stage, I would say, but we're really scratching a hard surface that it really warms my heart to see fans really cheer on their teams and parents support their kids, and whether it's like your parents' fusions or like the fans in the seats, like it's really cool how it brought people together, and it still does. Like I love that. That's my favorite part.
Yeah, and I mean, just as much as it brings people together inside of the game, you see the impact it has outside, bringing people
Mm.
together for like wider issues and just
Yeah.
being friends outside of the game and being together, and it's really cool to see.
Some of my best friends are actually most of my best friends are from gaming.
Yep, same.
I, I haven't met most of them. I actually knew ZP before Overwatch. We used to play video games together for many years. So it's kind of weird that now we're kind of working on the same league in different roles, of course. But um, it's- gamers at heart forever, and it's something that you can connect with them on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, bit of a lighter question now. Mondo.mp4 asks, what is your favorite color?
Okay, now we're asking the hard questions. No, that's orange. It's and I'm not trying to be different here, but I think orange is such a beautiful color. And it's cool. It's in the Overwatch League logo, but
Yeah.
I'm a Denver Bronco fan for the NFL. I think orange is such a cool highlight. I don't know, it sticks out. I don't know how to explain my favorite color other than I enjoy it. Um, like how do you say like
It's okay.
really like how bright it is? I don't know.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a bit of an easier question. I mean, I used to like orange, so I kind of rock with it. Ellery asks, how many different camera angles do you have during the matches, and how is it decided which one to show at a given time. I'm not sure if the question is specifically about the observer cam or the player cams, but I assume it's
Oh,
about the
okay.
observer cams.
Yeah, I mean, I could try to tiptoe or answer both. Where in the observer world, they have a director, two first-person camera shots or observers, and then two free cam, so kind of like bird in the sky type of view. And then they have like someone that's working with the replays and clipping all the highlights and all. So like in the typical game, you'll see like six observers in a match, give or take. On the broadcast end, like there could be a lot of cameras at once. Like when we're at a homestand, you have those cameras on the side of the players where you can see all six of them. Every single player has their individual camera. You have the caster cam. You have a couple cameras out in the audience that could be swinging around and giving you that swinging shot. And then there's people that are holding cameras that you could see them as they win and they walk to shake everyone's hands. There's a lot of cameras actually live during a broadcast, and there's a director on the broadcast side that is calling the shots. He's like, "All right, camera one, take," and there's someone pressing the button to take it. I I'm not a broadcast guy completely, but I've been around enough of the broadcast the last few years that I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. Maybe you could talk to someone on broadcast next, and they can give you better insight.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, that's all the time we got questions for. So thank you so much, Adam.
Yeah, thank you for having me. This has been great.